Hey, they got great rates down at Mount Carmel School. Proud to present the last week of the link. And also our Chamorro playlist here. This one, Tiempo, 801. The number down there is 671-565-5128 to enroll for summer school, or they're already doing enrollment for the upcoming school year, and they got a great deal for those of us who are prolific in the baby making. Yes, you know who you are. Every child you enroll at Mount Carmel, you enroll one kid, like your oldest, right? You get them in there, the regular tuition. The next kid is a lower rate. The next child is even lower. The fourth child, free at Mount Carmel School in Hoggett. They understand. We're a baby-making nation. You know what I mean? Telo 2, Thursday, May 26, 2022. Republican Senator Telo Taitague joins us in studio. Thanks for joining us, Senator.
Chris. And Joe.
Yes.
Joe, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Everybody needs to know me. You got, tomorrow is your last day.
Yeah.
Without, they always said behind a good person, there's that support group. And
Joe
Joe
Sir's
Sir
man.
has been.
Yep.
Joe, come in here so people can they see you?
Yeah,
Can they see you?
yeah.
Hey.
There's something with people behind the
High five,
camera,
dude.
Senator.
Yeah.
They don't like to go in front of the camera. I don't know what it is. It's a camera thing.
Yeah, but
right, sir? Yeah.
they're the ones that keep it rolling.
He's
They
loved.
assist you. I mean, they
Right.
make you the great person that you are, Chris.
Oh, thank you, Senator.
I have to do a shout out to my staff because they're a reflection of my work that I'm
Nice.
doing, and I really want to show my appreciation to them. Thank you, Jason, Rowena, and Rollin, for all your help. All these last
3 staff,
3
that's all they
years.
give you in the minority?
And the minority, yes,
that's right.
very low amount. Yeah. Well, it's not 3 staffs. You're given a budget that's
Right, exactly, yeah.
half the size of a majority. So,
Correct.
you should hit for that majority.
The majority seems to be where it's at, right? Yeah. Senator, let's talk a little bit about budget. I know there's a bunch of stuff you want to talk about, but we're in the budget process now. Are you liking what you're seeing? I don't think so.
Absolutely not. And I'm pretty sure I can see when the agencies come before us, they're looking straight up at me saying, please don't ask those questions. And I'm like, of course
Who
I'm
told
going
it
to
to
ask.
Tello?
Of course I'm going to ask them. Yeah, and we're not getting the answers. That's what's the saddest part about it.
What
If
are
you're
the big
coming to-
questions that you're asking?
Lapses. How much lapses did you have in FY21? Things like that. What's the total amount of employees that are fully funded versus those that are, warm bodies, or those who you would like to fill a position that's vacant.
Right.
I mean, we couldn't get that from public health. And granted, public health is one of the largest agencies, department agencies that
Right.
we have on the island. And, they have a lot of programs, they deal with the heart of the community, really, so. But they should have these numbers. I do realize they have a new ISO in place. Mr. Taitague had retired,
At Public Health?
At Public Health.
Okay.
That's what I heard. He retired. So Arlene, I can't remember her last name, but granted, we hopefully will get those answers to the questions that they were
Right.
not able to give us, but they should have that in front of us. Another concern I had.
Would you say, before we move on, though, Senator,
Yeah.
would you say that the budget process, what it's looking like this year, is it going to be the same thing that it was last year, where you guys were kind of operating in the dark?
Yeah, operating in the dark,
You know
lack
what I
of
mean, though?
transparency.
Right, yeah.
Well, countless times we've told you how important it is to see where this ARP funding, this $558 million that was given to the governor for her discretion, on how it's being spent, so
Right.
that we can provide a budget bill that can, fund other areas that's been lacking for many years, while this ARP funding can cover it. And we're not getting that information. Even the question I asked at Public Health, do you have a list of what ARP funding that you received from the governor? I think it was $11 million, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Of that, 9.1 million has been spent. Can you tell me where you spent this money? And they said, well, overtime. They talked about a few PPEs, things like that. But it really doesn't tell us a full itemized description.
Right, yeah.
And when you're coming to a budget hearing, we need that information. And it's been lacking. I mean, one thing that was odd, and I brought up during the public hearing yesterday, was every budget that comes to the legislature must be certified by BBMR.
Right. Is that happening?
Well, this one didn't, because the budget that they presented in their PowerPoint was quite different from what I received from there 2.5 months ago when they gave us their budget bill,
Right.
which is stamped by BBMR. And then when I did at the end of the public hearing, ask the director.
Do you mean your old friend Lester Carlson?
No, director as in public health.
Okay, Art St. Augustine, right on.
You mean the secret adobo
We're going to get to
maker?
that. I want to get to that. Yeah, so, okay, we're on public health. Did you find out how many LTAs
show
they
you how
have?
to make adobo?
Yeah, he can teach
secret?
Lester how to make pork adobo.
Yes, you do.
And he will tell Lester
my
every
God.
single ingredient.
Absolutely. Why? It's kind of awkward way of describing the budget, but
So going back to Public Health Center.
Going back to public health, with regards to certification of budgets that are given to the legislature must be first certified by BBMR. So when I asked the director of public health, your budget is different, quite different from what was submitted. Has this been approved by BBMR? Has it been stamped, certified? And he said to me that, oh, I did talk to Lester about this, but he said, oh, go ahead and present it. And this is so frustrating in this government. I mean, this whole year has been jungle rules. Wow. People breaking laws. It was just the other day when I was talking with the OPA's office, regarding certain transparency with regards to accounting, like lapses, for instance.
Right.
And it makes you wonder.
Senator,
okay.
just people listening, you're talking about the lapses. Why are these important to you, and why do you feel they're important to the people of Guam?
Well, number one, it makes you question, why weren't you able to spend it when you came in front of the legislature requesting for this particular amount?
Yeah, so they go before the legislature, they request for this amount, and then when they come back to you guys, you guys will say, hey, what's your lapse? And they'll be like, oh, we didn't spend, $3 million or whatever.
Oh, well, public health, according to the comments that were made regarding the Medicaid, Medicare matching, how are we going to offset a shortfall that may happen, It was told to us that about, I think it was $12 million in lapses.
Wow.
Where did this lapses come from? What was not spent on this money? Of course, they didn't let us know. They didn't tell us.
Well, what do you think?
But it makes you wonder, when you're doing the budget,
yeah.
if you're getting lapses every year following that, then why do we keep holding up this money? There's other agencies that could spend this money right away.
Because not everyone's having a lapse. You got some agencies
Exactly.
which are having a shortfall.
Shortfalls.
Right.
Fire department,
Right.
classic example. That was $5 million, shortfall in the fire department. And with the raises that are being increased, there's got to be some kind of, where are you be able to cover these raises for FY22?
Yeah.
Now, FY23, we're going to address that, for the pay raises. But we're already getting calls from our agent. From our offices that, it's not just the teachers and the principals, but the support staff.
Yeah.
Those who are doing the grants, those who are working in the administrative side, the parapros. I still call them parapros.
Yeah. They're always going to be parapros to me, too. Yeah, yeah.
Hey, did you ever do a skit on parapros?
I never did a skit on parapros.
You got to do a skit on parapros for us old school people, Yeah, I love using parapros. And what did we use? Mayors was commissioners back in the day, right?
Senator, so where are we? Because Lester Carlson, when he talked about footing the bill for the teacher raises, he used the pork adobo analogy, which, Lester, I don't know what he's smoking down there at Adelut, but
hopefully it's legal.
Yeah, it is legal, probably. But it was just funny because Nestor had said, hey, well, where's this money going to come from? And he said, don't worry. Basically, he was like, don't worry. Hey, forget about it. I'm cooking up the pork adobo, but I'm not going to tell you what's in the pork adobo. You're just going to eat it, and you're going to love it.
I'm surprised he didn't say lasagna. You're
so
right,
what did you make of just that whole, to me, it blew my mind that you have a guy who is in charge of a public budget saying that the public doesn't have a right to know where the money's going to come from.
Well, I'm cautiously optimistic about this. Wow. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Well, he's very colorful and in his
But does
words,
that fly for you guys when you have
absolutely not?
When the administration saying, "Hey, don't worry about it. We're going to take care of it. Just do it."
Absolutely not, Chris. Like I said, it's been jungle rules since the beginning of January, total, or even before that. But I'm really starting to see it now where we have laws, we have guidelines, and none of it is being followed. And it reminded me yesterday when I was talking with the OPA, as I said earlier, where Kathy Kikigi once said, okay, which law do you want me to break?
That's right. I
Remember that?
Yeah.
Which law do you want me to break?
Right.
And I was talking with the OPA regarding the war claims, account that we've been drilling Director Byrne every time we go into committee of the whole. Where's the reimbursement from the war claims, from the Treasury, going into the accounts? Where is that money? It never went into the account. Why not? I mean, off a day. But it's just it's frustrating. And as I looked to the OPA, I said, well, what do we need to do in our laws? It's become just a slap in the hand or a oops, or nobody's doing anything about it.
Yeah.
When I asked that question too with someone else, they said the only way to do it is for a public to come forward and file a suit against the government.
Yeah, one of those taxpayer kind of suits.
Yes,
right, yeah.
That's what would do. I go, well, can I do that? Can I go and file suit against?
Let me ask you, Senator, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. So
Sure.
I know we're talking about this pork adobo thing, but at the end of the day, if the governor's money man says, hey, don't worry about it, we got this surplus, we're going to cover it. I mean, some people would say if the money man says, we can cover it, then we can cover it.
He doesn't have that authority to do it. It's this body. That's why there's checks and balances in our government. It's the legislature that determines the budget, and if I'm not mistaken.
Wait a minute. So you're saying that you guys control the purse strings of the government?
We appropriate,
Yeah.
Any revenue coming in, and for the government.
Yeah.
Now, in the budget bill, we have these miscellaneous provisions and these particular sections that says any excess revenue, especially the one that I placed in the budget bill. I think I did it twice in a row, but it was being questioned by the administration that it does not fall into the law, that it still allows the governor to take money out of any excess revenue. So this last budget bill, we made it completely clear, and I got the Attorney General's opinion to make sure
right.
that any excess revenue, that means money that has not been appropriated, that come into the government, must be appropriated by the legislature. And I cited all the laws just to cover, my backside, just to cover it all, right? And during the committee of the whole, I made sure I passed out the opinion from the Attorney General to Director Byrne and everybody else sitting in the committee of the whole to remind them that it's this legislature that decides, or this body that decides where any excess revenue goes. So I don't know where he's getting this money. Now, the governor has transfer authority.
Right.
And I've been bringing that up during every budget hearing for every agency on, are you still able to function when the governor transfers money out or puts it in reserves? And we had a whole incident with the Office of Veterans Affairs. They had no clue that they had $140,000 in their account while they were paying for prior year obligations. That's FY21.
Yeah.
Paying for prior year, and sending us a letter saying we have a prior year obligation, but we're using FY22 budget. And I looked through all, research and the documents that I had. It says, no, honey, you have $140,000. Why are you dipping in to this year? It's just been so difficult for this administration to be transparent.
I know, but I feel like Lester is only going to say that because he feels like the rope is long enough for him to say that because of this ARP money, and the governor's been very firm, and she's correct, and she has the authority to dictate where it goes and how it's spent. And I think they've kind of taken that and they kind of ran with it. You know what I mean? And so that's where I think he's coming from, is that, hey, we did with the ARP, we've done it, we're going to keep doing it. As somebody stop me.
Well, I tell you, if Lester thinks he can keep coming up with these innuendos, of Dobo or, optimistic and things like that, he has another thing coming. The people of Guam are not, they're not dumb. They know what's going on. It's very simple. Simple English. Didn't you do a skit on simple English?
I did something
I'm
on
sorry,
that.
I've been listening to
Pretty
you all
sure.
week on all your skits, but simple English, it's just simple math. You complicate it enough, to confuse the public. You think you can get away with all the shenanigans that are going on, or it doesn't matter, they'll forget. No, the people of Guam are not forgetting. There's one thing that I've noticed in since the pandemic. People have become more educated. They've been watching, the legislature. I mean, during the pandemic, we had the largest viewing
we didn't
audience.
have anything else to do, right?
Exactly.
Think about the viewership on the COVID-19 press conferences as well. People really paid attention.
Okay, now you're going to make me cry.
Yeah.
Right when you said that.
Senator, let me ask you this one, though. So you got
trying to stop me from crying.
You got Lester talking about pork adobo, right? And he said that whole comment because he was defending the fact that he's trying to find the money, and he says we can do it for these teacher raises. So just like politically, do you feel like it's a slippery slope for you and maybe others to question where this money is going to come from? And do you think that teachers, principals, administrators hear this criticism and these concerns, and they think, hey, get out of the way, that's my raise we're talking about?
Well, I think this should have been done during a time where it's not such an artificial economy to support any kind of pay raises at this point. It's been done. Are you going to be the first one to, pull it back? If you recall, during Governor Calvo's administration, when he first came in, he had to hold back on any kind of raises because we were trying to get the tax refunds paid to people who've been owed for 3 to 4 years. Yeah. Now, do we want to go down that road again, where our tax refunds are not going to be paid for people who've been waiting 3 to 4 years to get paid? I mean, we're starting. You talk about a slippery slope.
So you really think that we're that close? Where it's that precarious?
Okay, so you've got $55 million that's been infused into our economy. I say infused, but technically we don't have to pay out anymore, right? And 35 of that is still in a law that was passed last year for the hospital. That's 35.
Right.
The remaining was, at least for 2022, is given for tax refunds. Thank God we all supported that.
Right.
But after that, the $35 million is going to be coming from the general fund. So if you look at the 55, that was, a relief. That's, I don't want to say extra money, but money that we don't have to spend. You have $20,000 left of that 55. Now they're banking on the military. How many times have we discussed where the BPT is being assessed to those contractors coming from off island and billions of dollars?
And I don't think we've ever got a clear answer on that.
Nothing,
right?
not from the attorney, not from the OPA, as well as GITA. If I'm not mistaken, when I was at GITA, there was a section of the department that were reviewing that. How much contracts are being given to off-island versus, subcontract to like Black Construction, Modern International, those particular, how much money is that going to yield? Gary Ohio's always told me that if money is being infused into the government or into the economy, you can expect, not the government, but the economy, you can expect 10% of that coming back to us in taxes. So for the last week or so, my staff and I, we have this big whiteboard in my office, and the board is called Show Me the Money. Show me the money.
So it's the Jerry Maguire
board. And then
board.
underneath it says, where's the money? On top of that, where's the money? So we're doing this analysis. We've already wiped out. I think it's 1.2 million that's left over in FY21 excess revenue. That has not been audited yet. Public auditor hasn't come out. And right now, people are starting to look at this excess revenue in FY22, starting to spend it, a frenzy on spending it.
Yeah.
So I think we need to be more, we need to be more frugal.
Yeah, that's
because it's an economy that has been artificial.
It's been inflated. I get it. We don't have a true read on it, but it's just so frustrating for, I think, the people of Guam when you have on one side, hey, eat this pork adobo. Don't worry about where I got it from. And then you have on the other side, the sky is falling. So I think as the voters head into this election, we are struggling with exactly what is the truth about the economy, because we're hearing two totally different answers from two totally different groups of people.
Chris, I have to say, your audience has been colorful themselves when they put the comments on.
Quite colorful.
Quite colorful. And I appreciate listening to their comments.
Yeah.
Some of them make so much sense.
Yeah.
and common sense, someone said to me once, is most uncommon. But I wonder what they're saying about a new dish that might come up next. We used adobo. What
Well,
other
I know
dish
my
can
audience
you
is
use?
a little elderly, and we're kind of like they're watching the pork first of all.
The
so
pork.
It might be more. I think I got more of a chicken adobo audience. Is that pork adobo with that fats? That's got to watch your cholesterol. Senator, anything before we let you go?
Oh. Okay, this is, I'm sure, your audience. You know, getting emotional is very hard for me to, unless I'm singing it, you know, then I have no problem. You know, it's verbatim. I could throw it out there. But
let me go first, Senator. Let me go
Chris,
first, okay?
you're not going to take this away from me.
No, I just want to tell you that I know people might be wondering, why do we get Telo on all the time? Well, I don't know. I've been following your whole career, and I think that you've really turned the corner the last couple terms. And I think that, you know, I mean, you've been doing really good work and just calling out a lot of the BS that has been happening on both sides. You know, I think you've called out people in your own party, you know, many times. And so when I see that and I see a voice that I feel like needs to be amplified and put up on a platform, and you can tell who I support by who comes on the show. I mean, honestly, more people would come on if there wasn't that silly ban on the link from the administration. But, you know, I mean, it is what it is. And I just want to let you know, Senator, that there's a reason that we get you on here is because I feel like your perspective is needed.
I'm so grateful for the opportunity to reach out to, especially your listening audience, which I think is so much fun to watch.
Best.
They're amazing. You know, the comments they put out there. I take my cue from them a lot of times, but seeing you leave in this capacity, the only person I know who has those same ethics when it comes to being truthful, honest, asking the hard questions. I mean, that should be a halo over your head. You know, I'm not afraid to ask the hard questions. And it's been such a relief to talk to you, you know, on the air. Okay, it's getting very emotional, but you've brought calm to your listening audience. You have brought calm in times of turmoil. You're just bringing laughter into homes when people are dealing with difficulties, you know, to remind them there's the, you know, light at the end of the tunnel, but we all have to go through these things. Okay, this is to cover up the tears.
Yeah.
Okay, but one thing too that you brought up was, you know, the push of our culture. I mean, even your skits and your songs, certain words I learned from you. Fa, jaff, you know, which by the way is one of my favorite. My grandfather had jaff, quite a bit of it on his arms. And when I was younger and then I heard your song, it made me smile because it reminded me of my grandfather, you know, when he had it, you know. So I learned more words just listening to your skits and your jokes and stories connected with people, you know, from all walks of life, working families especially, as well as the businesses. You've attracted islanders who left Guam, who listened from overseas, you know, who in other, either U.S. or in Europe or in Asia, all our Chamorros who have left Guam. You've continued to touch them every day and remind them of home. You bring home to them through your radio,
Thank you.
you know. And I just wanted to thank you so much, you know, for your service and not being afraid to say what's on your mind, because there's a lot of people out there who are so quick to tell you, you know, how something should go or we should do this and do that. But then when you ask them to come on and say something about it, they'll go, oh, no. I don't want to get involved.
Yeah.
But you have so much courage. And this guy, Joe, who supported you and egged you on to say, yeah, I mean, he was clapping, but he, you know, over on the side saying, you know, because you speak your mind.
Thank you, Senator.
You will be so missed, Chris, but, you know, everything that you have built, you know, and that trust in people needs to go somewhere else. You know, it shouldn't stop. You're too young, you know, to give up on helping our community. And I'm hoping, and you have aspirations to serve the community, maybe in a different capacity. cheers to that.
Cheers,
for my
Senator.
water.
Right on.
And looking forward to continuing on with the legacy that you provided this island. You are history for Guam. You are history.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
No,
so
thank
much.
you. Wow.
I know. I did it without it. Pen.
Yeah.
Pretty good, right? As soon as I walk out of here, it's going to come flowing down. I don't want to show people that. No, I do have a soft side. Yeah,
I know
do.
you do.
I'm
You're
a
all
toughie,
soft,
but I
Senator.
have a soft
Right
side.
Thank you for your kind words, Senator. It's
No,
always a
thank
pleasure.
you.
And you'll see me around, and
I'm
whatever I
sure.
got planned for the future, I'll let you know, and everyone's going to know. It'll be soon.
Oh, I hope so.
Thank you, Senator.
So. Okay. Thank you so much,
See you.
Angel.
There you go.
Is that okay?
Republican
thank you.
Senator Telo Taitague, her favorite malfunction is the Jap Jap song. I'll play that for you coming up.
No worries. No worries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's
okay.
that. Right on. So many kind words there from Senator Tello, also Senator Sabina this morning. I did this thing on my Instagram where I asked you guys to share your malfunction memories. Thank you, Senator, so much. Thank you. Okay. And you guys did, and there's some great memories that were shared here that I kind of wanted to share a little bit with you guys. Oh, well, let's get us. Sir, hold on. We'll take a break. Senator, I want to stand up and take a nice pic with you. Let's take a break, sir. And we're coming back. Actually, we're going to do our 8 o'clock news. And as promised, we have the Whopper Melts in studio. Yes, that's on the way right here on the link, which is brought to you again by Calvo Enterprises, IT&E Jack in the Box, and Mount Carmel School in Haga.
I gotta get these packages out.